Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Today, I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined by the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. We are awaiting the presence, perhaps, of good old MF Michael Fletcher and or the Phenom Michael Bullock. Not sure where they are at this time, but if one or both of them come in, we will catch them up on what they missed. But if not, then we'll hopefully have them Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. But Monday Night Raw, of course, live as always from the Thunderdome, the WWE Thunderdome at the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida, exclusively on the USA Network, as we continue the road to the Survivor Series, which is going to be in a few weeks. So, with all that being said, we started it off with an in-ring segment. We had the WWE Champion, Randy Orton, and he cuts another fantastic promo, and then he gets interrupted. He gets interrupted by, of all people, Alexa Bliss. And then we tease the Fiend coming out, but then Miz and Morrison show up. McIntyre comes in out of nowhere. This was a well-done start to the show that established the numerous threats to Randy Orton's title reign. There was the hint of the Fiend, the presence of Mr. Money in the Bank, who teased the cash channel, by the way, and the threat of the former champion, all rolled into one segment. The multiple threats heighten the significance of the title and make it look like the single most prestigious championship in the company rather than a prize that only two guys care enough to fight over. Drew McIntyre cutting off The Miz and John Morrison also furthers a feud that began last week. And it'll be interesting to see if the Hollywood A-lister and the Monday Night Delight end up potentially costing McIntyre a championship opportunity if and when he gets his rematch. So that's really all there is to say on this. Great way to start the show, even though this was not the best show. Stop me if that sounds familiar. So really nothing more to say. So Dee Dee Woodson playing hurt tonight. Give you all the credit in the world for that. But your thoughts on this opening segment?
It was a good opening segment. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest Raw in the world, but it just was a good segment. It was a good way to start the show, and it had a lot of action, a lot of reaction, and definitely very storyline building. So I'm gonna kind of cut it there because this is about as much voice as you're gonna get out of me tonight. So
Okay, so we'll keep that in prayer for you. But anyways, we move on to, I could honestly say, a match. Now, I'm very curious. I wonder, did Vince McMahon secretly rehire Vince Russo or something? Because I swear this match is something out of the Vince Russo files here. It was Elias versus Jeff Hardy, and I'm not kidding, in a guitar on a pole match. First man to grab the guitar and hit their opponent with it won the bout. Jeff Hardy wins the match, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Dee Dee Woodson, nothing left to say except somewhere Vince Russo was probably giggling like a little girl or something after this.
yeah, more than likely he probably was. I mean, this was definitely out of the old days. But yeah, this was it. I want to say that I hope this feud's over, but I know it's not. They're probably going to keep on going with it. But you're getting to the gimmick matches now, so it's time to stop. It's time to put this to bed. So I'm going to give it probably maybe 1.5 stars. So what's yours, Florio?
I'll give it. I'll be a little generous. I'll give this about 2. Hopefully, this ends it with Elias. That's what Byron Saxton said on commentary. Not often I agree with him, but in this case, I do agree with him. I love shoot comments that aren't meant to be shoot comments. This feud has been a whole lot of meh So it was only appropriate that this match, presumably the end of the program, would follow suit. While some might argue that Elias dominated the bout and thus gets something out of beating up Hardy, he still lost like a guy that isn't at Hardy's level, or The Undertaker's level, or John Cena's, or Roman Reigns. He is always the heel the company gets to work with relatively high-profile opponents, but never lets actually win. And they wonder why they cannot create new stars nowadays. So that's really all I can say on that. So we're just gonna move on to a women's tag team championship match, and this is where the cutouts and the crap storm began. We had Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defending the titles against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Winners of the match, 3 minutes and 35 seconds, and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. And that Lana gets involved here. However, I'm actually going to give this 2 stars for the effort. This was a fun sprint of a match that proved what the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke can be going forward, all while paying too much attention to Lana at ringside. The chemistry for Team Raw women at Survivor Series is all over the place, allowing WWE to tell the all too frequent story of wacky, mismatched partners who hate each other, taking into consideration the fact that Baszler and Jax are a team displaying the same properties. It is proof positive of WWE's over-reliance on that particular trope. Still, it was a fun and harmless match while it lasted, even if the segment was flawed. So I'm just gonna park it there. Good old MF Michael Fletcher has just joined us. Gonna get you caught up here, MF. We started it off with your boy, the WWE champion Randy Orton, and all hell broke loose. Alexa Bliss came out. We teased The Fiend coming out, even though we didn't. Miz and Morrison. We teased the Money in the Bank cash-in by The Miz, but Drew McIntyre ruined all that. But a crazy and chaotic way to start off this edition of Monday Night Raw. And Matt, your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was chaotic. It was all over the place. I think we all expected it, but there was really nothing more to add there. So yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as anything else goes, no, I think it's you're absolutely right with everything that you just said. So yeah, nothing more to say, Anthony, and it's yours.
Yeah. Well, we have one other thing to catch you up on, and that is it was Elias versus Jeff Hardy in a guitar on a pole match. Jeff Hardy won the match 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, I'm very curious, MF. Did WWE rehire Vince Russo or something? Because this was right out of his playbook.
It kind of is a little bit out of the playbook. No, they have not rehired Vince Russo, so there's really nothing more to add there. I mean, it is what it is. It was a solid. It was, I guess, okay. I mean, look, both guys have been using the guitar lately. I kind of felt like that was the necessary route to go. I don't think there's anything more to say there. So yeah, it's all yours.
All right, you're all caught up because we got into a cutout, which was the women's
Okay.
tag team, titles, and that was not
Yeah.
anything good. So
Okay.
we're just gonna move on here. Women's match. All right. Oh wait, it falls off a cliff further from here. Oh yeah, champion versus champion match. United States Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley against 24/7 Champion R-Truth. Bobby Lashley wins in 55 seconds, and then Drew Gulak stole the 24/7 title after that. Yawn, dud, move on. But then this is where it gets really fun here. We had the phenomenal AJ Styles. He cut a promo saying that he should be the captain of the Raw men's team for Survivor Series. He brings out Keith Lee. He brings out Sheamus. they all argue, and then all of a sudden Braun Strowman comes out and saying, I should be on the team. And then Adam Pearce shows up and says, hey, Braun, you're great and all, but you need to have a qualifying match. But then AJ said, you know what? How about Braun Strowman versus Keith Lee versus Sheamus? And if Braun Strowman wins, then he can join the team. Adam Pearce says, okay, that's great. Let's do it. So it is Braun Strowman versus Keith Lee versus Sheamus in a triple threat match. Winner of the match in... I unfortunately don't really have a time of the fall here, but nonetheless, bad news for MF and SmackDown. Braun Strowman wins the match, defeating Keith Lee and Sheamus. He won it with a power. He won it with his traditional power slam finisher on Sheamus. And just bear with me for a moment. I'm trying to find this here. 14 and a half minutes. 14 and a half minutes. Yep, there it is. Yep, DD. I just found it. It was 14 and a half minutes. Excuse me. It was Braun Strowman winning the match. And I'm going to reset here. I'm going to take it since DD had led off on our previous relevant segment here. So, oh my goodness. Hands down, this was the fight of the night. This was a Be a Man Hoss fight. I mean, oh my word. I mean, this was insane. I mean, but as far as the segment goes, why would AJ Styles, as the self-proclaimed leader of the Raw team, want to see two partners in a prospective third beat the hell out of each other in a triple threat match? Why would Sheamus and Keith Lee, already on Team Raw, not eagerly accept a former Universal Champion to their team? How perfect is AJ Styles in the pot-stirring role? That may not have worked quite as well as WWE had hoped, thanks to the logic gaps, but it was still an entertaining, if not convoluted, way to get to what ended up being a fantastic Hoss fight. And my God, I mean, wow. They beat the hell out of each other. They got Strowman on the team. And, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, that was the highlight of the night. And it was a fun triple threat match, even if the outcome was rather predictable. Everybody involved worked hard, put together a fun and entertaining bout. The post-match angle, when it looked like everyone might be on the same page, I was up for the idea of seeing a united team of badasses face another united team of badasses, but unfortunately, we're going to have more bickering. That's not going to help our cause. But nonetheless, though, I got to give this a solid 4 stars. This was amazing. Hands down, the fight of the night. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was a good old MF Michael Fletcher special. This was a smash mouth, physical, Be a Man, triple threat Hoss fight. What else is there to say? So that's all there is to say. Solid 4 stars. Fight of the night for me. Nothing more to say. MF, AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman. Good luck to KO and Jey Uso to try to beat these 4.
Yeah, but remember, R5 has not been announced yet. You don't know who the other guys are going to be for Team SmackDown. So, I mean, yeah, I'll openly admit it. Raw definitely has a deadly force right now. That's a strong 4. We're hoping the final guy is going to be pretty weak. That's all I'm hoping for right now, is that we get a weak link for the 5th guy. But no, that's a strong 4. I'll openly admit it. Raw's creating quite a strong powerhouse. So we'll wait and see what happens. It's gonna be one hell of a match. So at the end of the day, yeah, this was a great match. Fight of the night, 4 stars, and there's really nothing more to add. Didi, what's in it's yours?
I can agree with that. 4 stars, fight of the night, and as usual, dysfunction. Looks like both Raw teams, the men and the women, are going to be very dysfunctional throughout this whole thing. So all we can say is we hope that Raw can hold it together for the Survivor Series matches, because right now they're total chaos in both teams. So nothing else. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. AJ Styles, we all know he's the egomaniac on the men's team, whereas Nia Jax is the big ego on the women's team. So we'll have to wait and see. But we still have a few weeks, so hopefully we can turn it around and get it turned around in time, and then hopefully come Survivor Series we can get the job done. Firefly Funhouse. Wow. The Wyatt Bliss Fiend stuff is still the most intriguing in WWE, at least this side of Roman Reigns and the Usos. Perhaps because it is so wholly different than anything else on the show. Definitely because of Wyatt's devotion to the persona. It is clear that Randy Orton is up next on Wyatt's revenge tour, and the weekly descent of Bliss into this otherworldly monster is a hell of a hook. Whether or not the Fiend manifests himself before the night's end was the question going in. So that's all there is to say there. And then from there, we had Nia Jax squaring off against Lana. Nia Jax wins the match 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Lana gets put through the announce table for the 7th week in a row. Lucky number 7. And we'll never know for sure. But if they had live crowds, I am sure they would be going nuts over that. They'd be cheering that weekly table spot rather than feeling sympathy for her. Fans love table spots, and it's not like Lana has been cast as a sympathetic character before now. They're trying to build her up as this sympathetic babyface, but you really think that's going to work? Nah. Absolutely not. I mean, trifle unnecessary. So
Something tells me, Florio, and I hate to say this, if they're gonna do it this way, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think they're setting Lana up to be the sole survivor for the women's Survivor Series match. I think she's gonna win it for Team Raw.
I would certainly take it. You know my motto. It's not the win if you can't, lose if you must, but always cheap. But win's a win. Take it any way you can get it. And
yeah.
I'll gladly.
I got this funny feeling after all the abuse, after all the BS. I think Lana's gonna get a major payoff moment. I think she's gonna win Survivor Series and win it for Team Raw. I'm gonna predict that Lana's gonna be the sole survivor in the match.
Now my question is this: would they have her do the unthinkable? Would they have her come back from, say, 5-on-1 down to win? Or how would they?
No, I think what's gonna happen is Nia gets pissed. She gets eliminated. Lana goes through the table again, and that takes her out. Everybody starts competing, knocking themselves out. Lana's one of the last ones for Raw. She wins it for the team.
Sounds good to me. Sounds kind of clever to me. If I'm gonna be
because
honest.
You know that WWE is gonna punish her some way somehow. You know she's gonna go through the table. They're gonna do that spot. It's almost a given. Nia's gonna lose her mind. Because she's gonna throw a hissy fit because she's gonna get eliminated. Take it out on Lana for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Lana's gonna stay at the end of the match. She's gonna win it.
Okay. Little foreshadowing before our Survivor Series preview in a few weeks, but anyways, let's get into our next match here. We had the VIP lounge with the Hurt Business, and then the New Day came out. They had a lot of blah blah stuff here, but it led into the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods squaring off against Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Business. Winners of the match in 12 minutes and 50 seconds, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. They actually pick up the win here. So MF, I mean, was it possible that because of Alexander and Benjamin's win, maybe those two magic words, championship committee moment, maybe?
It might be. Not only do I think so, I think this has to happen as soon as possible. I think this has to happen either next week or the week after. This could have major ramifications for Survivor Series as well. Because if the tag team titles flip and go to the Hurt Business, then they would automatically fight the Street Profits. And let me tell you, if it's Hurt Business versus Profits at Survivor Series, I like my chances. I really like my chances. Now, don't get me wrong. I know it's going to be a mismatch because then you got to deal, it might be 4-on-2, and that's not good. But I do like my chances on a random tag team getting thrown together going up and against us as established. Because I would take the established any day of the week. So for me, I like my chances with the Profits to knock off the Raw Tag Team Champions. Now, if it's New Day at the end, man, that's a barn burner. That could go either way. Either one could win it. I have no idea how that would end up. So nope, that's an open prediction. Florio, it's Didi, it's yours, I should say. But this was a nice win, and yeah, championship committee moment. 2.5 to 3.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm not going to add anything to it. So what's yours, Florio?
Yeah, I'm with MF on this one. I'm going to give it a solid 3 to 3.25 for the effort. It may be New Day versus Street Profits at Survivor Series, but Hurt Business announced its impending championship hunt by way of their victory in this one, and rightfully so. With a decided lack of established tag teams elsewhere on the roster, it is no surprise that Raw would turn to the Hurt Business to provide a challenge to New Day. That the faction has been one of the few consistent bright spots of the brand for the last 5 months only adds credibility to their expanded role. This was a fun sprint of a match, giving fans a taste of things to come. Now, for me personally, this is the match that I do not want to see get screwed up here. I want to see the New Day and the Street Profits throw down. I really do. That's got potential to be a barn burner. I don't know about the other guys, but we'll have to wait and see. But keep it as New Day and Street Profits. You do that. And make it the opening fight of the night. Have that match kick off Survivor Series. There you go. That's a fun way to get the crowd invested, albeit the Thunderdome, but who cares? So I can't think of a better way to jump off the event than that. But we'll wait and see. So 3 to 3.25 stars. That's my rating for this. Then we had Ricochet against Tucker. Ricochet won the match in 38 seconds. And then Retribution came out and they beat down both Tucker and they beat down Tucker and Ricochet there. So there are far worse options than a feud between Ricochet and Ali, but with every passing week, it feels like Retribution is more and more shoved down the card. They are a shell of the industry, changing factions some expected out of them when they arrived. Now they are a firmly established mid-card act feuding with a Ricochet who has not won a meaningful singles bout in months. And as for Tucker, he's clearly dead in the water. His first match to determine if he is headed for big things as a result of his heel turn at Hell in a Cell, and he lost in 38 seconds. Not exactly a ringing endorsement from creative. So not much more to say on that. Then we had a backstage segment with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And I wonder. I like the idea of acknowledging the friendship between McIntyre and Sheamus. Sure, it's a bit odd that the top babyface is friends with a longtime heel, but it can be explained away by McIntyre in a promo once Sheamus turns on him. More than anything, I am hopeful that a feud that plays on this friendship will somehow add another layer to the Sheamus character. So that's all there is to say on that. Drew McIntyre in a 2-on-1 handicap match against The Miz and John Morrison. And Drew McIntyre, he won the match in 15 minutes and 35 seconds. Didi Woodson, we usually poo-poo all over handicap matches, but this one was rather decent.
It was very well done, and I'm going to give it probably 2 3/4 to 3 stars. It was a very well done match. I mean, they did very well taking it to each other. Of course, I don't think there was much doubt in who was going to win, but it was it was good. Drew stood his ground. He showed that that he can take these two, very easily. So I'm not going to add too much more. This cold's killing me. So it's yours.
Yeah. Second best fight of the night. I'm going to give this about 3.5 stars. I mean, no matter the odds, it never felt like McIntyre was losing this one. Even with the odds against him, Miz and Morrison don't have enough credibility to believably beat someone as dominant and destructive as McIntyre. What worked was the closing encounter between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, followed by Wyatt's laughter. It continued to put over the threats to Orton's title while ending the show on somewhat of a cliffhanger. And that is the type of booking a much maligned show needs to keep fans invested. And a nice win for Drew, who continues to be booked as the top babyface of the company despite dropping the WWE Championship. Unfortunately, it came at the expense of Miz and Morrison. I didn't expect the heels to win by any means, but I was really hoping they would be elevated to some extent once Miz won the Money in the Bank. Instead, they look like hapless mid-carders who don't belong in the title picture. But this was a rare, decent handicap match. So I'll give it a solid 3.5 stars. Say it was the second best fight of the night. So nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts?
3.5 stars. You're absolutely right. I don't think there's really nothing more to add here. It was as good as you could have gotten. It was solid for the most part. I don't think there's anything more to say. So yeah, Anthony, it is yours.
I'm gonna call an audible here for this next thing. Since Didi Woodson's under the weather here, I'm gonna start the final thought with her so we can get her out of here so she can go rest. So, Didi, a quick final thought from you, and then we'll get you out of here so you can go and get rested.
I'm gonna give it probably about 6.5. I mean, it was average, but it still had a lot of storyline building here, and you're still getting all that build up for the pay-per-view. So I'm going to keep it nice, short, and sweet, and leave it right there. So hopefully I will see you all Friday if this is all gone by then.
Well, we'll keep it in prayer for immediate healing for you, Didi. So that's all we can say there. So go get some rest, get better, and hopefully we'll see you on Friday night.
I hope so. Good night, guys.
All right, good night, Didi. All right, I'm right there with Didi. It was a 6.5. However, Raw continues to struggle. I mean, the main event feud is interesting, and the new tag title feud has some potential, but they are really struggling to fill the 3 hours. I mean, and even with all the moves of the draft, I mean, it still feels the same. I mean, Raw is still booking Raw the same way they did before the draft. Repetitiveness, repetitive matches, repetitive happenings going down, and matches we keep seeing the same thing over and over again, and it makes the draft seem worthless, if I'm going to be honest with you. And the past few weeks for Raw have been rough. I mean, looking back, the ratings haven't been all that great. It was a bit of a change of pace, and that there was truly nothing offensive to the point that I was really overly annoyed, except for some of those cutouts and the Lana stuff. But 24/7 stuff was kept to a minimum, which was great. Retribution is dead in the water. Focus on Survivor Series. I mean, they're really, throwing that out there, and it wasn't enjoyable. It was a mostly enjoyable show, but it wasn't overly so. Outside of that triple threat boss fight between Braun, Lee, and Sheamus, there was nothing all that overly entertaining or intriguing. To be blunt, it was mostly boring. And still, boring is a definite step up from the past few weeks, so they got that going for them. So, but that triple threat was the fight of the night. The triple threat, I mean, that handicap main event was the second best fight of the night. And you know. But other than that, I mean, the opening segment was great. But other than that, I mean, nothing really overly to get write home about really. So, but I'll be generous and I'll give this about a 6.5. So, MF, a quick thought, and then I'll get into a Tony's take, which includes a very sad news and view coming.
Yeah, no, this was a 6 out of 10 for me. I thought it was all right. Nothing really more to add. So, yeah, Florio, go ahead. I heard about this news as well. I'm a little shocked and very heartbroken because this is it's a bad situation going on right now.
It certainly is. And before I get into my Tony's take, a big news and view item came out from the world of Impact Wrestling. It came out early this morning, and Kylie Ray, who was a big star in Impact Wrestling, also had a halfway decent run in AEW in the early AEW days, has retired from professional wrestling. And on top of that, she's also deactivated all of her social media. And, unfortunately, the situation was actually worse than we initially thought. So we definitely want to send our thoughts and our prayers out to Kylie Ray. I don't know her as much as MF does. I mean, MF knows her a lot more better than I do. He's followed her a lot more, mainly because of her indie success. But yeah, very likable, very lovable young lady indeed, and it is what it is, and it's very sad. But at the end of the day, this is life, and these things happen, and for all of us, we have to deal with our life, and whether we like it or not. And unfortunately, like I said, these things do happen. So we wish her the absolute best, and we're hopeful that she'll get the help that she needs, and the whole 9 yards. And never say never. You never know. You never know. Never say never. So we'll just keep that in mind. So let's get into my Tony's take here. Impact Wrestling, the fallout from Bound for Glory, and we started it out. Eric Young, there was a backstage moment. Eric Young attacking the new World Heavyweight Champion Rich Swann backstage, and it led into a title match. Eric Young getting his rematch against Rich Swann, and Rich Swann won the match in 3 minutes and 24 seconds and successfully defended the title. 2 stars. It was fine for the almost no time it got. Young's rematch clause is out of the way. It did that piece of business well, and there wasn't a lot to the match because of the lack of time. But I'm not going to poo-poo over it too much here. They tried a lot for the short time they had, so nothing really more to say. Hardcore Halloween match, Brian Myers against Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer wins the match, 11 minutes and 43 seconds. Another 2 stars. This was a garbage match. I don't mean that in a negative way. It was a typical goofy hardcore match that was by no means great, but it wasn't offensively bad. These are the kind of matches that Dreamer is best used in because he can work the hardcore angle fine. I don't think they need to be piling the losses on Myers, especially the guys like Dreamer, but it is what it is. Triple XL against the Rascals. Triple XL in 6 minutes and 4 seconds. 2.25 stars. Too many times we've seen this match in the past few weeks, but I'll give them credit for making this one different. Yeah, the basic structure was the same, but they nicely changed up the moveset, and Triple XL finally got a win over the Rascals. By no means was it a great bout, but I've seen much worse from those guys, Triple XL. Then we had the Knockouts title situation. Deonna Purrazzo had some sort of ham and egger, jabroni, D-bag lawyer, barrister, whatever you want to call him. And they threatened to, bring legal action against Impact Wrestling and all that. But they said, you know what? Deonna, you can have your rematch, and we'll give you you can have your rematch next week. So that's all there is to say there. A lot of backstage stuff. Then we had Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan against Jordynne Grace and Alicia Edwards. Tasha Steelz, Kiera Hogan, 8 minutes and 29 seconds, 2.5 stars. It was a solid match. It had a decent story in the miscommunication and lack of chemistry between Alicia and Jordynne. Alicia Edwards had her best bout in a while. Tasha and Kiera made solid heels, and Jordynne played her role well. Absolutely nothing to complain about there. And then there was the wedding of Johnny Bravo and Rosemary. The Sinister Minister, Father Jim Mitchell, he presided over it, and then we have this. It just started a brand new ridiculous storyline over who attacked Bravo, and that's really all there is to say on that. So 7 out of 10. This last week's show, very unpopular with some people. A lot of storyline focus, less wrestling focus, and the Who Shot Bravo mysteries, the kind of thing that some people hate. But the show, it was it was a rather strong way to come out of Bound for Glory. Eric Young's rematch is out of the way, but Rich Swann is already feeling the heat of being the world champion. We have Su Yung versus Deonna for the Knockouts belt tomorrow night. The build of some new potential tag team stuff. And I love the Rosemary storyline, so it works for me. It was by no means a perfect show, but it did what it needed. Tomorrow night, in addition to Su Yung versus Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts title, Chris Bay is going to square off against Trey Miguel. Ethan Page will square off against Doc Gallows. And Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards will team up against Eric Young and Sami Callihan. So a very interesting bout, to say the very least. So that's all I can say on that. Quickly getting into 205 Live. And then we'll put the bow on this. Excuse me. And we started it off with Arya Daivari against Kurt Stallion. Kurt Stallion wins the match, 9 minutes and 7 seconds. It was a rather basic start and picked up a bit before the end. Stallion has potential, and getting to work each week on this show will only help. 2.25 stars. Ever Rise against D. Brian Kendrick and Mansoor. Mansoor and Kendrick win the match in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. And I'll tell you what, 3-star match. It was a good and smartly worked tag match here. Mansoor was made to look good, and Ever Rise are great at talking trash and losing, but they actually made their opponents look good. And tag wrestling is fun when it's done right, and this actually hit all the right notes. So I'll give those guys credit, even though I still can't stand them. But, it is what it is. 3 stars. 7 out of 10. Good show with a fun tag match to close. They moved along the Neeson Daivari and Stallion story, and also the Mansoor Kendrick one as well. Always an easy watch with solid to good in-ring action. So a 7 out of 10 for that. So that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel, Racefan 95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem. We'll be reviewing the Go Home show for Full Gear for AEW Dynamite, and we'll also get into NXT as well. Thursday, we have College Football Thursday. Loaded docket. I mean, Clemson against Notre Dame, Florida against Georgia, just 2 of the big games. BYU against Boise State on top of that. So huge docket come Thursday night. I cannot wait for that show. That's going to be our biggest show so far. And then a very special edition of we got a very special show coming up for you on Friday night. In addition to our review of Friday Night SmackDown, we are also going to be previewing the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, and we're going to do a rapid-fire preview of Week 9 of the NFL, because of the fact that we are not going to do an NFL Saturday show this Saturday night, because of the fact of the loaded night that's going to be this Saturday night. Because you're going to have not only the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, but we're also going to have Clemson and Notre Dame as well. And the AEW pay-per-view is very likely going to run over very late. And because of that, it's probably going to be too late to do a show. So instead of canceling the show like we had to this past Saturday night because of circumstances beyond our control, Michael Bullock was out late and MF was under the weather. So we had no choice but to cancel the show on Saturday night, and we apologize to you wonderful fans for having to do so. But it is what it is. So but we'll be ready for Friday, and then we'll take it from there. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF over on Brace Fan 95, it's Anthony Florio here signing off for my elite panel. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom Michael Bullock, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. Get better soon, Didi. And of course, FKG 401, always and forever, Dark Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.